Hello, and thank you for calling in this morning, MYM Insiders, and it's good to be here with you on our Innovation Hour call. This is actually a webinar that I put together quite a while ago, and I thought it would be worthwhile to come back around to it because the ideas that I'm going to communicate and put together for you are so simple, they're so obvious, they're so powerful that I really wanted to share this with you. It's a really simple innovation concept, and I want you to see this. And hopefully by the end of this webinar, you're going to look at this and go, "Wow, this is really not that hard. Take some effort and take some time, but in terms of difficulty, I think you're going to be hard pressed to say, wow, that's really difficult." So we're going to talk about a bank today, and probably most of you on the call are not banks. And it doesn't really matter. The idea of the Innovation Hour calls, as always, is to give you ideas, what I call to become a thought spur, to spur you to thoughts that can work for your own business, regardless of what business or industry you're in. And that's what we intend to do here today. So let's go ahead and get rolling on this. And we are going to innovate the bank, the stodgy, curmudgeon-y institution known as the bank. So let's get right to it, okay? My experience, not 100% of the time always, but typically, you know, they're not very good at marketing. They try to be impressive. Their marketing is platitudinal. I had an opportunity, gosh, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, could have been longer, to meet with the CEO of a very large bank in Texas, and they had been around for a while, and they had a marketing campaign that they still use today. And I don't want to sound like it's a terrible strategy and it's horrible, but their slogan was "We're from here," meaning from Texas. And you know, you guys probably aren't from Texas on the call, but you can probably guess just by you know, whatever reputation that Texas has sort of an ego, and it's kind of a big deal. And so this bank had a slogan, "We're from here." I met with the CEO, and you know, I think it's okay, we're from here and Texas and the whole thing, but it doesn't really communicate much about what they do or how they're different. And I got to talking to them, and there were some things that they did that were interesting and different and differentiating and interesting, but they wouldn't communicate them. I want to talk about identity and communicating and doing and saying things that make it obvious that you are something that's worthwhile to the customers, okay? So let's take a look. This is just some stuff I pulled on some bank advertising. I always thought this was an interesting bank named the Fifth Third Bank. It's kind of like the Fifth Baptist Church or something like that. But sure enough, there is this bank called the Fifth Third Bank. But let's take a look at this ad and make some commentary on it. The headline, of course, big league material, go to bat with Fifth Third Bank. This is one of the worst kinds of marketing that I just can't stand. It's puns based on sports. And, you know, it says there that they're the proud sponsor of the United Center, and that's where, you know, they play basketball in Chicago. I guess they didn't have enough money to be the sponsor of the Chicago Bulls, but just the United Center, but whatever. And everything you'd expect from a hardworking pro team, strength and stability, all the right tools, great coverage. If you look on the ad on the left, strength and stability, bring it home, play ball. This is really just kind of dumb. I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't communicate anything. Nothing is going to be worth reading. If we read under bring it home, it says Fifth Third Bank has a full range of services tailored to meet all of your banking needs, from a variety of personal savings and checking accounts to home equity loans, mortgage services, auto loans, to expert investment management and advice. I mean, would you expect that there is a bank that doesn't have checking accounts and saving accounts? I mean, it's really weak. The puns are not really helping. Hey, we've put 5/3 on the guy's batting helmet. Maybe that's going to do the trick. It doesn't do the trick. These are dumb ads. Here's some other ones. You're out of line, college fund, direct deposit plus free E53 checking, you know, geared towards students. That might be okay, I guess. Free sounds totally good to me. Totally free checking and a totally free gift, only from Fifth Third Bank. Simplify, your banking just got easier. You know, I just don't find these to be very compelling. The one in the middle is very typical of banking ads. We've got the woman who is casually lounging in her home with her dog who's there, and this is just supposed to, I guess, say something about the lifestyle of the people that they want banking with them. Or maybe if you have this bank, maybe you'll have this lifestyle. I'm not really sure. Here's some other ones. Never business as usual. That's why more and more law firms and attorneys are moving to Georgian Bank. And maybe that's geared specifically towards attorneys. I don't really know. We want to be your bank that open a totally free checking. So they're not the only one with totally free checking. Bring your family home. Come in for a free buying analysis. We have a home loan for you. These just pretty weak ads. I think we'd all agree. This is my favorite one. Have any friends in Missoula? May we suggest a few? As if moving to Missoula makes me want to become friends with the people at First Security Bank in Missoula. Our home is your home. We're the country bank. These are all just the typical kind of garbage that you see. And I don't think I'm too far out of bounds to call this stuff garbage. It's just not that good. We've got more. Do we even need more? I don't think we need more. Let's take a look at this series. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take this series from this bank called P&M, Planners and Merchants State Bank. And this is a small bank in southern Texas. And you can see here that they're going to play off this apparent weakness of having a few branches, 3 to be specific. And they've got this theme, which is fewer branches, deeper roots. And it's a pun, which I'm pretty much just normally against puns. And in this case, I'm going to keep that prejudice against puns going because I think it's kind of dumb. Fewer branches, deeper roots. It's kind of cute. And if you read the text, it's got this sort of home style, what's that restaurant? Cracker Barrel, right? Maybe we can walk into this bank and buy some candy or country music CDs. Who knows? We're so proud of this community, a community we've called home since 1907, and we love to do business with our friends all across the Brazos Valley. Since we've been here almost a century, and update is past a century now, we may well have helped your parents or grandparents. And since we have fewer branches, we have fewer layers for you to go through for your mortgage, personal business loans, or just about any other banking service you may need. Call on your local banker at P&M State Bank. We'll be here to help you with straight talk and helpful answers. And the rest of the ads that I'll show you for this company tend to be about the same. Okay, so we've got these hands with this tree, and on the right-hand side, we've got, similar to what we saw previously with the woman and her dog. This is a very dapperly dressed, model-looking couple sitting inexplicably on a fence reading a book and being thrilled at the prospects of whatever is in that book. And so they're branding themselves. It's obviously a branding campaign that they're trying to say, hey, look, we're fewer branches, deeper roots. And the ads all tend to have this feel. So here's some more. We've got the businesswoman and the guy with the tie, and we've got the woman who loves her horse because it's in a part of the country where people might tend to have horses. I don't really know. We've got we've got a daughter who's doing a woodworking project with her father. She's got her little teddy bear. Of course, we've got the African-American family. We want to make sure that we're multicultural, and they are building, I don't know what they're building there. Maybe they bought some furniture from IKEA, but they seem very excited to be building it. Here we've got the black and white versions. We've got the little baby with the dog standing up, and we've got the snowman. Okay, so you can kind of get the idea here. And I don't need to walk you through every single piece and part of this, but here's what's going to happen after a while. They run these ads, and people are going to start to tune them out. And they're going to start to tune them out because they're going to have this idea that says sort of, I get it, I got it. You're the fewer branches, deeper roots bank, and that may have an impact on some people, maybe not. Golly, did they just keep going? Here's what I want to do. I want to innovate, and I want to teach you a little formula for innovating. It's very simple. It's very easy to do. Here's my question for the banks. Why is it so hard for them to do something different? The ads are all about the same. And I'm going to ask you, as you look at your business, to step outside of the normal, what you do in your industry and maybe just innovate a little bit, do some things a little bit different. All the same junk. Focus on things that really matter to people that would make a difference when they choose a bank. So let me ask you this. What would be things that would make a difference in people choosing a bank? Well, let's use a process here. It's called the Innovation Formula Category 5 Brainstorm. Now, this is a storm, and this is a pun, and I just told you I hated puns, and then I brought one out on you, but, you know, whatever. It's all fun. Category 5 Brainstorm. Let's do a brainstorming session. Cat 5 Brainstorm. Here's what you want to do. Get a whiteboard, get your team in a room, and start going through ideas of things you could do to innovate your business. Now, this is very similar to an innovation formula that we talk about. In fact, it's pretty much the same thing. It's called the magic wand. If you could put a magic wand in the hand of your customer, let them wave it over your business or your industry, what would they want? What would they think would be neat? But I'm also asking you to look at this from this perspective of you as the bank, or your company in your case, things that you might even do that people wouldn't know to ask for or wouldn't even know would be interesting or fun. So let's go ahead and do this. What we want to do is isolate the hot buttons, the problems, frustrations, concerns, and negatives that people have with your industry, and then look for opportunities, things that people want. Write them on a whiteboard, and then challenge yourself to come up with no less than 100 innovations. That's a key number, 100, because it's not going to let you stop at 10 or 15 because you know that the bar is very high. Let them rip 100 innovations, okay? There's more innovation. 100 is more innovation than the entire banking industry has in their combined history. So let's just kind of go through this and look at it, okay? Let's take a look at banks. Some of the problems. Banks treat me like a number. They take me for granted. Fees and penalties suck. Switching banks is a hassle. Going to the bank is a pain. Quit nickel and diming me. Do something for the community. Help me become more financially savvy. Could banking be fun? Make the bank more comfortable. Okay, these are just some things that we could write on the board, and we could use these as fodder for coming up with ideas. Now, we actually did this. I did it with a group of consultants of mine a few years ago, a group out of Chicago that was heavily involved in doing marketing for banks. And I went through this exercise with them. I said, okay, let's just put this on the board and let's start to come up with things that a bank could do. Some of the ideas might be small and not that interesting and not that great. Some of them might be huge and grand and maybe even undoable and unrealistic, but let's go ahead and just put it all out there. So let's go ahead and do this right now. How about this, a full service account transfer process? You say, well, what's that? Well, what are some things that people hate? And here's one of the things that people hate. Have you ever switched banks? One of the biggest problems with switching banks is that switching to a new bank is an absolute pain in the butt because you've got your bill pay set up, you've got your automatic deduction set up, you've got your incoming direct deposit set up, and to switch banks, you have to change all that stuff, and it's a huge, massive pain. What if somebody helped you or did it for you at the bank? Would that make a difference? So they put together a bank switch kit that helps isolate and identify all of the things that might need to be switched. What if they had a kid and family-friendly literacy program? You say, well, what does a literacy program have to do with a bank? Well, what if this is a service that the bank just offered? What if they had a help desk or a hotline? If you have any kind of banking or money questions or investing questions or any kind of questions about mortgages or loans, here is a hotline. Now, here's the interesting thing about a hotline. You could literally take and create a red phone at the bank, and you could make it visible to the people that come into the bank, a red phone. And you could say, this is our hotline. If you have a question, call it. We will answer it. And it's the same dumb phone number that you already have, right? You with me on this? But because it's now presented as a hotline, people see it as a solution to banking questions or problems that they might have, as opposed to, oh, well, there's just, you know, a bank obviously has a phone number, right? Red alert, overdrawn notifications. This is becoming more standard with text messaging, and technology is allowing this to happen, so that's good. Unusual activity alerts and notifications. Employee Facebook. Now, when I say Facebook, I don't mean a book with I don't mean Facebook like Facebook the social networking. What I mean is a picture book that the employees have access to, literally, that has pictures of the customers, and it has their names, and they can study it so that when people walk in, they can recognize them. And I would quiz them over it and reward your employees for recognizing people, so that when they walk in, they can say, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" Now, if they get it wrong, they might feel stupid, but that's why I would quiz them ahead of time. Personal account managers. One of the things that I hate about the bank is when you have a certain account, you may find out later that there was actually a different account that was better suited to your needs, but nobody ever told you. So you ended up paying too much money for your account when you could have been switched. Personalized greetings when you walk into the bank. That's kind of the Facebook idea. Thank yous. That's ingenious. Treats for everyone. Now, a lot of banks will give a little dumb sucker to kids when they come through the drive-thru or they come into the bank. What if you made treats available for everyone? Maybe different treats on different days of the week. And, you know, this isn't that hard to do. You can go over to the local donut shop in Southlake, where I live. We've got a donut shop called Busy Bees Donuts, and they sell donuts for X number of dollars. Well, what if the bank went over to Busy Bees and said, "Hey, you normally sell donuts for $6 per dozen. I would like to buy donuts from you for half price, $3 per dozen. So you're not going to make a lot of money on these donuts. Maybe you won't make any donuts, but I will put them in our bank every Friday from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. I will put a sign up that says donut compliments of Busy Bees Bakery, and I will promote it in my advertising that on Friday we've got Busy Bees. So you'll get this additional coverage and advertising for your donuts." Do you think the donut shop would do it? Yeah. And so you could have Busy Bee Fridays, and you could have, you know, whatever, Starbucks Thursday. You could have coffee that you hand out, or hot chocolate, or whatever the case is. Come up with something. Candy for adults and kids, whatever the case is. This is something you just have to think through. Customer accessible restrooms. Community activity room. Now, this is a great idea, a community activity room. And what you do is you've got this room, and it allows you to hold functions at the bank for customers, and it allows you to allow customers to use this room for various things that they might want to use it for. Maybe they've got a Cub Scout meeting that they need to hold there, or maybe they need to have some, you know, homeowners association meeting, or whatever the case is. They can have it at this room at certain times that are predetermined, and there's an online schedule. You can go and you can book this room. But during other times, this room is not available because the bank would be using it to hold classes, or to have art exhibits, or to hold community type programs, which I'll show you some in just a minute. Put together a business library. Let people come in and read, or borrow books. What the heck? Let them borrow the books. If they bring them back, great. If not, you know, charge their account. Just let them have it, whatever. Get business people in there. You want business accounts? Give people something worth coming in there for. Free copier access. Hey, if you need to make a few copies, come over here. We've got a copier. You can make up to 100 copies a day if you want to. We don't care. Community giving program, giving money to charities or schools or certain causes. Promoting it. 3-ring binders for statements. A lot of statements have gone to electronic, but if not, give a binder that they can store those things in. The 20,000-mile checkup, you know, we talked about that earlier, making sure you're in the right kind of account. Free coin counting machines. Bring all your coins in. We'll run it through for free. We'll encourage you to bring it. We won't put out, "Oh, geez, the guy brought in all of his coins." No, bring them in. Turn it into cash. We won't take any kind of discount. It's not like Coinstar where it's going to take 9% of your money. Bring it in. Online banking for dummies classes. Hold a class. You know, maybe some of the senior citizens don't really know how to do that. Bring them in and show them. Local events for the week posted on your website. Support local sporting teams. Maybe it's the high school football team or little league teams. How would you support them? Giving out tickets to the high school football. Maybe it's sponsoring jerseys for the little league. Whatever the case might be. Free ATM usage. That one's out there quite a bit. New mover relief kits. People move into the marketplace, and you stick it on their door and says, "Hey, here's a new kit. Here's a kit for you as a new mover. All the things you need to think of and put into place, and and take care of as a new mover. Oh, by the way, you need a bank. Event celebration cards. You know, this is all just stuff that's going to allow you as a bank to be a little bit different. On-site children's play area. You know, some grocery stores have them. Why not a bank? Make it so the kids ask to go to the bank. Thought for the day, text. Maybe it's a Facebook posting or a Twitter. Who knows? Heavenly cookies. We're getting back to more treats. Donut day. We talked about that. Free M&Ms at the counter. To get the little packs like you get at trick-or-treat time, and just have them all year. Take a pack of M&Ms. What do we care? Probably don't want a bowl where people just stick their hand in there. It's a little bit gross. Free waters and sodas. This is an idea that I came up with years and years ago when I was in college, and believe it or not, I worked at a hardware store, and if you know me, you know that how absurd that sounds, because I know nothing about fixing things or anything, but I got this job through a project that I was doing for a class in accounting. We helped this hardware store that's accounting, but I also needed a job, and I got on just as a clerk. And I ended up doing all kinds of marketing things for the store, and I started taking all my little marketing ideas that I had when I was in college and implementing into this store. Well, one of the things that this store had was it had a soda cooler in there. They didn't sell a lot of treats. They had a certain amount of Snickers and stuff like that, but they weren't, you know, like a convenience store by any stretch. But they did have this soda cooler, and it was one of those kinds that's glass, so you can see all of the sodas in there. I don't remember how tall it was. It wasn't particularly huge. It was maybe 4 or 5 feet tall by 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet wide. And it was glass. You could see all the different sodas in there. And people would come in and they would pay, I think it was 50 cents for soda, and they would stock it. They'd go down to the Costco and buy the sodas. And I told the owner, Chris was the guy's name, I said, why don't you just make this cooler free? These sodas, if you buy them at Costco or if you shop the sales, they're like 17 cents a can or something like that. You stick them in this cooler, particularly for the contractors during the day, and you don't necessarily publicize it, but you let these contractors know, hey, anytime you come into this store, feel free to just grab a soda. Even if you're not buying anything, if you're just in the area and you're thirsty, stop by and grab a soda. We'd love to say hi. We'll put some chairs over there. You can sit down. You can relax for a few minutes. It's air conditioned in here. Come on in here and take a soda. Well, why couldn't the bank do the same thing? Have a soda machine. Maybe an old-timey one with the bottle, you know, whatever. Get a little creative. It costs a little money. But see, all of these things, while they cost money, they also engender loyalty, and they can actually be allocated as marketing costs, right? Tip calculators, investment club, you know, get people in there for that. Plain talk financial column. This, you know, we're talking about blogs on websites that are actually useful. Plain talk radio show. Why not do a radio show? Free pens. Instead of the chained pen, right? Give them away. They're 18 cents if you buy them in bulk of 5,000. Superlative service training, helping you out. You know, okay. And I'm going on and on. We're trying to get 100. I'm not going to go through 100, but I'm going to give you a feel. We care about customers panel. Annual customer account checkup. We already talked about that twice. Fresh flowers brought into the store. Again, maybe this could be something you joint venture with the local flower store, you know, in exchange for putting a sign. We want you to stay healthy, having some sort of a health fair. Immediate credits for deposits. Local news and human interest stories. Caring for customers club, home insurance protection pack. So here's what we want to do, and we don't want to. I'm not going to make any comment here. Confirmation bias. People tend to find evidence to support their existing beliefs and ignore evidence that goes against them, or at least find excuses to rationalize them away. Now, confirmation bias is really important in marketing because we have the ability to set expectations for people, and then they're going to evaluate everything that we say and do against those expectations. But if we set a certain level of expectations, they're going to be looking for that. Okay, and the reason I've got Barack Obama on here is politics is the perfect example of confirmation bias. People you either love Barack Obama or you hate Barack Obama. He's either a genius or he's a fool. He's either a hero or he's a goat. There's really no in between. And no matter what he does, you're going to fit it into your perception of how you feel about him. So if you feel like the government shutdown, if you don't like Barack Obama, then you feel like the government shutdown is all his fault and he's being stubborn and he won't negotiate with the Republicans and what a jerk. If you love Obama, though, you see it just the opposite. Why won't the Republicans negotiate? They're being unreasonable. They're causing all these problems, and it really comes down to how you feel about it. what we can do in a marketing environment is we can set expectations. We can tell people things that we want them to know, and then they'll start to evaluate what they see against what we've told them. And I've told this story before. It's about the shower head. And this is a hotel called Holiday Inn Express, and it's a great example of confirmation bias. I checked into the Holiday Inn Express, the story goes. This is several years ago when I was on vacation with my family, 6 kids, including some very, very young kids at the time. And we check into the Holiday Inn Express while we're on vacation, and I see the sign at the counter. It says, "Welcome to the Holiday Inn Express, home of the Stay Smart showerhead." And it had a picture of the showerhead, and of course you can see it here on your screen. And then as we checked into the room, on the counter next to the television was another sign that said, "Welcome to your room. When you get a chance, go check out the Stay Smart bathroom," featuring, and then another picture of the Stay Smart showerhead. Then I went into the bathroom, and on the counter of the bathroom, it said, "Welcome to the Stay Smart bathroom," featuring, and then it had bullet points. The first thing was an oversized towels, plush towels. The second thing was a bowed out shower curtain rod, so you had more room in the shower. The third thing was designer toiletries, so that you had fancier shampoo. And then the fourth thing, of course, was the Stay Smart showerhead bicolor with a picture, of course, of the showerhead. And I looked over to the shower, and I couldn't see it because the shower curtain was closed, and I opened it, and this is literally what I saw, what's on your screen. I took a picture of it because it was so astounding. The picture of the showerhead with a sign affixed to the showerhead telling you that this is the showerhead. And it becomes impossible to ignore the showerhead. But here's what I want you to think of. Normally when you stay in a hotel, do you notice the showerhead at all? And the answer is you don't. And the reason you don't is because it's one of many, 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 many elements of a hotel stay. And it just sort of blurs into the background scenery of your hotel stay. Unless the showerhead is particularly bad or the pressure in the shower is really low, you normally don't even notice the showerhead at all, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? But by pointing at that showerhead repeatedly, it makes you notice it. So here's what you then start to do. You start to notice the showerhead, and you judge it against the expectation. And the expectation that they've said is that it's a fabulous, wonderful experience with the showerhead. And now, as you get into the shower with this, what they've told you is fabulous showerhead, you actually give the shower more credit for being awesome than you would if you otherwise had not been told to notice it. This is called genius marketing, pointing at things so that people notice it. And here's what I found is that most people don't notice their wonderful experience that they're having with your company because you have simply failed to point at it and bring it out to their attention, so they don't notice. And that's a bad thing. What we want to do is we want to point. So here's a question. You know, we talk about identity a lot at Monopolize Your Marketplace. It's really a function of pointing at the showerhead. What do you want people to know and think and feel about your company? What could the bank be known for? What about this? What about being customer and community centered? And I'm asking you to go through this thought process with me. If you're a bank and you wanted to be known as a customer and community-centered bank, look back on the Category 5 brainstorm that we went through and look at how many of those things specifically speak to the issue of customer and community-centered. But here's the problem. Most banks, even if they did those things, would simply tell people we're a community customer-centered bank, and it would mean nothing to the actual prospect or customer because they expect to hear those things. So what I'm suggesting is that we take it to the next level and we actually show people what we do. So I'm going to start pointing at a showerhead in my advertising for this bank, and the showerhead is going to be, we are the customer and community-centered bank. And I'm going to take the same template that the P&M Bank was using, and I'm going to show you how this might work. And here's some ideas. Second annual local art and photography show this Friday and Saturday. The first 100 who attend will receive a limited edition Casey Willis print. Now, there's a picture of people looking at art, and if we've got this community room like we talked about, we could actually have an art show. Well, where on earth would we get art for an art show? Well, how about from the community? We reach out to the high school. Would you like your art students to be able to display their art? You reach out to local artists that you develop a relationship with. Would you like to display your art? And then you start to promote it via email, via your website, via your Facebook, via your advertising in the newspaper, local newspaper, right? Second annual local art and photography show this Friday and Saturday. Now, if this advertisement was placed in isolation, and what I mean by in isolation is it was the only ad, then it might not make much of an impact. But if it were part of a series that I'm going to show you, it would start to draw attention to the fact that this is a community and customer-centered bank. Now, keep that thought in mind as I continue to point at that showerhead. The showerhead, again, is what? Community and customer-centered bank. Next, do you chain your pens down when your friends come over? Neither do we. Take as many as you like. We don't care. We always give first-time customers a few moments to stare at the pens when they come up to the tellers. Some twirl them. Some approximate the length of the would-be chain. Most just marvel when they finally look up at the teller. She just smiles and nods. We aren't trying to keep our pens. Unlike our customers, they aren't precious. So if you accidentally swipe a pen, no problem. In fact, if you need a pen, take one. We have more. We have plenty more. Put the name of the bank on the pen. Let people take it home. It's advertising for the bank. And as they look at it at home, they're going to get this feeling, oh, this is the bank that lets me take the freaking pen. This is awesome. I love my bank. We're trying to make people love their bank. And you say, well, this is stupid. You put an art show and you let people take the pen, and that's going to do it? Well, maybe those two things alone would, but let's keep rolling it out. We'll tell you before you bounce a check, not after. Guess those other banks would rather have your $33 fee than have you as a happy customer. Have you ever thought overdraft fees were absurd? I mean, the bank knows you don't have any money, and yet here they go charging your account. Next, they'll charge you an overdraft fee. Why has it taken so long for a bank to understand that customer service should include help with money management? Pleasant tellers are nice, but come on. Okay? And then we keep going. Free treats for kids, moms, dads, teenagers, pets, grandparents. Why should kids get all the good stuff? Stop in or drive through, and we'll have something for everyone. Now, you guys know this. We're a virtual company. All of our employees at Monopolize Your Marketplace, we work out of our homes, including me. I've got a nice home office here. It's nice and spacious. I got plenty of room. It's a really nice office. But one of the things that's funny is as a home-based business, I've got a UPS account, and the UPS people are bringing stuff here and picking stuff up constantly, usually an average of 5 days a week, sometimes as few as 3, usually at least 4 or 5 days a week. Things are coming and going from my business from my home. Well, you know what? The UPS lady brings every single time, and she comes at about the same time every day, right? Because they got a route, and they come, I would say within a 1 hour window, usually much tighter, maybe a 30-minute window. The UPS lady comes, and it's a lady. And whenever she comes, she puts a dog bone, a little teeny milk bone dog biscuit. It's about 3 inches long, and she puts it on whatever she leaves on the porch. And she rings the doorbell a very specific way. She rings it twice. Ding, 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 ding. She rings it twice. And my dog goes haywire. Sonny, I've got a golden retriever. It's the nicest, sweetest dog you'd ever want to meet. And this dog goes haywire. When she hears that doorbell ring at that particular time of day, she knows it. And occasionally she'll get fooled. It'll be a FedEx. And the dog will go to the door and go crazy, and there'll be nothing there. I'm telling you, these little teeny things make a huge difference. What if the bank did that? Get some interesting lollipops, not just those stupid little dum-dums that you can buy 10,000 of them for $4. Why not some that cost a little bit more? Make people want to come in. That's the idea. Make people want to come in. Get it? Make people want to come in. How do we do that? Well, why should kids get all the good stuff? Stop in, drive through. We'll have something for everyone. I'm guilty. I've taken candy away from my baby, but the bank teller didn't give me anything. I appreciate the gifts for my kids, but hey, I'm doing the business here. Besides, it's a bank. If they can't afford to give away some swag, who can? Question, why don't banks have bathrooms? Answer, they don't want you to feel at home comfortable, and then it talks about how we do that. Are you starting to see how if we did this line of advertising every day, a different ad goes in the paper? We're pointing at the showerhead called Customer Central Community-Centered Bank. Use our copier for free, up to 100 copies at a time. You don't even have to be a customer. Just bring your copies and start copying. Really? When I walk into a bank, I walk straight to the teller or to the island. They have full deposit withdrawal slips. Whatever I do, I try to walk in like I have a genuine purpose for being there. Maybe they're terrified of bank robbers, but if you walk into a bank daydreaming and see you don't, well, I don't know what that means. I don't like that. Anyway, we need to change that. We donated $73,400 to local charities last year. The true measure of a community bank is how much they give to the community. For most community banks, community merely describes a geographical region that the money vault originates from, the city that town's money is kept here. That's all. Of course, they sell community to customers like they mean camaraderie and local pride. We mean community, plain and simple. The dollars we give to local charities to back it up. Don't be lulled by the other banks. Demand proof of their servitude. And then you can put a list of the charities that you gave to. Convert your coin jar. Bring your coin jar in and we'll convert it to cash for free. We don't know why other banks don't do this either. Come on. Children hate to leave our bank. You'll like your stay with us too. Just a little play area for kids, that's all. Come in today for a free fresh baked cookie today after 1 p.m. Take 2 or 3 if you want. They're that good. Have 20 dozen cookies brought in. Let people bring them home to their kids. You want people to come in. Stop in any time for a free soda or a bottle of water. If you have time, browse our library or play a game of checkers or make some copies. Wow, a bank that's actually open for you after work when it's convenient for you. Why other banks close by 5 p.m. is a mystery to us too. Need help avoiding the pitfalls of buying a used car? Our car buying seminar is just one of our monthly events held in our community hall. We have 200 free tickets for this week's Hillers game. The Hillers is the local high school football. We don't just support the Hillers, we're giving free tickets to the first 200 who request them. And of course, those are tickets that would have been purchased from the school so that they're getting the money and then given away to the customers as a service to them. What a great way to help out. Free flags. Now you have no excuse for not proudly displaying the colors. Come in between now and July 3rd for a free full-sized American flag. They give away flags. Meet the Tooth Fairy this Thursday afternoon and learn all about good teeth habits and receive a treasure chest for your lost teeth. Get a girl in there, dress her up like the Tooth Fairy, have her read a book, talk to kids, bring the local dentist down, let him do some kind of promotion there. What do you care? Dr. Huckabee comes down, brings the Tooth Fairy with him, talks about that. Parents come in, they're thrilled. They get a chance for the dentist to give his spiel. The bank is now a good friend to the community. You see how this works? This takes time. It takes effort. But I'm telling you, this bank would rule. I live in Southlake, Texas, okay? There's a main street that runs right down the middle of the town, east and west. It's 1709. It's called Southlake Boulevard. I don't know how many banks are on that street. I would guess in the 5 miles that road goes in our town that there are at least 15 banks. At least 15 banks. Which bank do you use? I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? Nobody knows. They're all the same. Do you like Chase? Do you like Wells Fargo? Do you like Capital One? Which one do you want? Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Make a difference. You see how this works? It's not that hard. And then we have the ability for accelerated discontentment to kick in, okay? And we're going to talk specifically about contentment with your bank. This line here shows somebody's contentment with their bank over time. Each one of these marks horizontally represents a month. And over time, people's contentment with their bank goes from discontent back to content to a little bit discontent. And every time something happens, it's called an incident. Something happens that makes them not like their bank. Maybe they got a fee. Maybe their check got put on hold. Maybe it was out of their way. Maybe there was an ATM fee. Maybe the person walked in and just wasn't treated very well. Maybe there was a long line and it took too long to get through. Sometimes the incident is minor. Sometimes it's major. Sometimes people want to change banks for different reasons. Who knows? But here's what we know. If we don't do any marketing at all, then we kind of have to wait for people to have these incidents occur But if we do marketing consistently, that's what the pink triangles represent, then we start to push their discontentment curve up, okay? And you see here on the left, when the first incident hits after a few months, the pink line is still very close to the black line. That represents there really hasn't been enough marketing messaging to make them feel discontent with their bank more than they would have, without the marketing messages. But I'm counting on each of these pink messages to be something that's powerful and makes people say, wow, that's different and unique. But here's where the rubber hits the road. It's when we accelerate the frequency of the messaging, and then what happens is the acceleration of their discontentment happens at a very rapid pace. And now a couple of things happen here. When they hit this incident number 3 that normally would register at about a level 5 discontentment, it now registers more like a 10, and it makes them switch or make an effort to change much quicker because we've fanned the flames of their disappointment and we've made them hypersensitive to their situation. And also, it makes it very likely that when they do switch, they come to us. See, we innovate, then we market consistently, and we let accelerated discontentment do its job. That's how this works. So we became the obvious choice to do business with. People know specifically why we're the best bank. All the other banks look ridiculous by comparison, and we monopolize the marketplace. That's it. That's how this works. It's pretty simple. You just have to do it. Ask yourself these questions. What do your customers hate about doing business in your industry? What would customers love if somebody in your industry would do? Can you come up with 100 innovative ideas for your business? Can you see how translating those innovations into advertising will allow you to destroy the competition? That's how this works. It's a pretty simple process. So that's what I have for you today, Innovating the Bank. Take that, run with it. We're going to be back in about 45 minutes with our Insiders Open Forum, where I will take questions from you on any topic. So I look forward to talking to you then. Until then, I don't know, go answer your email or something for 45 minutes. We'll talk to you then. Bye now.